Hello, and welcome to your tutorial video on understanding action properties and triggers. We'll cover all the basics about actions and how to trigger them on your screen. As we learned in the Getting Started video, in order to have an action, you first need to add an image. So what we're going to do is select the image you want to use and drag and drop it onto the canvas. After that, you can browse around your action library right here on the left-hand side of the screen and select the action you want your image to perform. So let's say I want my image to jump. I select my jump action, and again, I drag and drop it onto this blue box right next to my image. For now, we're only going to focus on the blue boxes, and the red boxes will come later on in a more advanced video. So once you do that, your action should be set. However, there are a couple of properties you might want to play around with. Properties vary depending on the action, so you might want to try a couple of actions to see all the possibilities. So for example, my jump action, if I go right here to my property editor on the right hand side of the screen, I can see I can tweak some properties. For example, height, I can choose how high I want my image to jump. Repeat, how many times I want the action to repeat. So I want it to jump, let's say 5 times. And duration, how long each specific jump is going to be. And then if we go down here, we have the trigger settings. The only one you need to worry about right now is play when. This is the most important because it means what will trigger your image to jump. So play when touch down will always be the default action, but you can move around. So let's say when loading. So my action will be played when I load this page. Let's try another one, for example. I will drag and drop this bird. And then let's say I wanted to rotate. So I select my rotate action and I drag and drop it to the blue box again. When I do this, I come to the property editor, and again, I see this specific action has a couple more properties. We have now angle, X and Y axis, repetition, and duration. So let's say I change this to 5, and duration, I want each rotation to be a little slower, so I'll leave it for 2 seconds. And trigger, I want it to start rotating, let's say, when I shake my screen. So once I click shake, this guy will begin to rotate. Let's say I want an image to act with 2 actions at the same time. So for example, I want this fox right here to move and blink at the same time. So what you have to do is select, for example, your move action. I can drag and drop it onto the blue box, and I select where I want it to move. Let's say I want it to move to this side of the screen, and for example, the properties for this would be where it would move in your X and Y axis, and the duration. Let's say I want it to take 5 seconds to move from point A to point B. Then I go over here and select play when. For this one, I will leave touching down, so when I touch down on my image, it will walk this way. But let's say I wanted to blink at the same time. So what I have to do is select my blink action and drag and drop it right next to my move action. I select the properties. I want it to repeat 5 times for 1 second each time. And I need to set my play when to touch down too. So if my move action is set to touch down right here, my blink action needs to be set down to touch down too. This is the only way they will work simultaneously. So now I'm going to preview so you can see how all this works. Let's try it out. I click on my preview button and I have to wait a couple of seconds for it to work. We wait, and then you will see it on your web browser. You have to be using Chrome. There we go. As soon as the page loaded, that bunny started jumping. That's because the trigger was set to when loading. Here's my shake button. So once I shake my screen, this guy begins to rotate because that was the trigger. So it rotates a couple of times. And if we touch down on this guy, he will begin to walk and blink at the same time. So you see how he's disappearing, he's blinking, and he's moving. See, it wasn't that hard. So in the states video later on, we will learn how to make actions happen sequentially and how to use the red boxes or global states. So for this video, this is it, but please check out the other video too so you can get a more advanced overview on how actions work. Thank you for listening.